Whether you're looking for a 360 camera for the Black Friday or Cyber Monday sales, or for the holiday season, for Christmas, or the New Year's sales, there's a lot to choose from. Here's my guide to the best 360 cameras out there right now or shortly available, so you can make sure you're making the best informed choice for your money. Hi, I'm Saab Johal and welcome to my channel, which is all about mobile and 360 video and photography and how to edit for great results. Be sure to subscribe to make sure you don't miss out on any more of my videos, and don't forget to like this video too. Before we get into what's available now, there's another camera that has the potential to be my #1 pick. It's not out yet, but it will be shortly, so make sure to keep watching to find out all about that. But let's start off with the latest 360 camera that's actually available now, and there's a whole bunch of stuff available about it already on the internet. First off, it's the GoPro Max, the successor to the GoPro Fusion. Now, the GoPro Fusion was a great camera, totally undercut by a terrible workflow to actually get the footage that you've captured into a usable form so that you could actually share it with others. The workflow was frankly horrible, and it's put a lot of people off buying it or using it if they already had it. Fast forward 2 years and now we have the GoPro Max. So what are the things that you should know about? Let's start with the hardware. It's still rugged and a usable size. It's what you'd expect from a GoPro, except like in all 360 cameras, the lenses do protrude a bit and they are notoriously fragile. More about that later. Now, GoPro has tried to deal with this by including lens protectors with the camera, and you stick these on each lens to protect them from getting damaged while you're shooting, which I am afraid is a very real and present danger when using 360 cameras. And I'm guessing especially in the action and extreme situations that GoPros tend to be used in. The good news is that although they do stick out a bit and protrude from the camera, they look like a useful addition, and they don't seem to interfere with the quality of the footage or photos you're capturing. Now, they could save you the cost of an expensive repair to the lens, meaning you just have to order an inexpensive lens protector replacement instead in case of any accidents. So that's definitely a plus for the GoPro Max. The biggest deal about the GoPro Max though is that it is waterproof straight out of the box. No messing around with cases or worrying about water getting in and destroying the camera, it just works. It will still distort your footage underwater though, so maybe think about the weatherproofing as making it usable in harsh wet conditions. That's what the waterproofing is all about. For good quality footage that isn't distorted underwater, you're still probably going to need a proper underwater case. Okay, while we're talking about the plus points for the GoPro Max, let's talk about the audio. It has 6 mics which it can use to capture sound, and this means it can create what is called an ambisonic sound profile that can capture where sound is coming from, not just the quality of your sounds. Now, I haven't seen too many people posting about this yet, or any samples, but if sound is your thing, then it might be a positive buying point for you. It can also use these microphones in complex ways to perhaps boost your voice and also suppress other sounds that have been recorded that interfere with you being heard, like wind or other background noise, or perhaps in a concert or walking past a whole load of people that are talking, or a busker. From what I've seen, it isn't perfect yet, but there is the opportunity to improve the experience through software upgrades to the camera. But like most things that are upcoming features, you can't bank on that, so just bear that in mind. You buy what's actually there right now, not upcoming features promised in the future, because the reality is they might never happen. Okay, what else do you need to know? It has a screen, so you can see and frame yourself while shooting. Now, while this is nice, it's also maybe a bit of overkill. I mean, 360 cameras record everything and you just frame it up afterwards. That's kind of the point of a 360 camera, right? So it's nice, but not something that I think is strictly necessary. But I guess it might be useful in what GoPro are calling hero mode, which is when you just use one of the lenses, either front or back, and are capturing traditional footage. I guess the screen will come in handy for framing up then, but it's not like the GoPro is the only camera that allows you to do this reframing. All 360 cameras allow you to do it. And you also need to remember that you'll only be seeing part of what is a 5.7 360 image, meaning that you'll be getting something more like 1080p footage at the end of all of this. It's just that GoPro are marketing it as hero mode. And of course, they've just released the GoPro Hero 8, which shoots in 4K, so they wouldn't want to cannibalize their own sales. So don't expect it to be as good as that. I see some people are already disappointed about that. Okay, so let's recap the positives for the GoPro Max. It's waterproof, it's rugged, especially with the lens protectors, and both of these things means that you can go out and do GoPro-y kind of things with it. And it also has the built-in screen too, which some people are going to find useful. Now to the not so great stuff. 2 years on from the Fusion, it just doesn't seem like it's improved enough at all. Let's make a list here. There's no slow motion. Why? Apparently this is going to be fixed in an upcoming software update, but it seems like a pretty critical oversight for a GoPro that's focused on capturing action. Now, because there's no output port for the GoPro Max, you have to transfer your footage to whatever device you're editing on over Wi-Fi. And this appears to take a pretty long time, especially because of the overly large file size because of the footage you capture compared to other comparable cameras. The file size seems quite big. So that's going to slow up your workflow somewhat. And speaking of workflow, people are experiencing problems with the app, and the reframe plugin for Adobe Premiere Pro doesn't appear to be working at the time I made this video too. So you need to know that if that's your preferred editing workflow. The mobile app experience is okay, it seems. It doesn't have some of the editing tools that other cameras offer in their apps. It's fine, no better than that really, and there are better out there, so I'll come to that shortly. Now, the mounting system is the same as you'd find from any other GoPro, which means that you'll find a whole bunch of accessories. But some people are finding that the thumb screw that you use to tighten the mount is showing in their footage, so that's not great at all. Now, GoPro don't allow you to export from the mobile app as a 360 photo into your camera roll directly. So if 360 photos are your thing, well, you can do it, but it's a workflow that's way more complicated than it really should be. And there's also quite a lot of stitching errors clearly visible in photos I've seen from the Max 2, so that's not good. It'll get better, but it really should be better than this out of the box. Now, the GoPro Max retails for US $499, but you may be able to get it cheaper using various promotions and sales over Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and other promotions. I'll leave a link to where you can get it through my affiliate link in my description and pinned comment below, and I'll update it with any sales that I come across too. All right, that's the GoPro Max. A good choice if you need a rugged, waterproof 360 device. But for everyone else, hands down, the best choice for you out there right now for value and video quality is the Insta360 One X. Let's deal with the negatives first, because I know some people are going to be waiting for me not to mention them, but I think we have to. The number one complaint about the One X is the service that Insta360 offers if something goes wrong. And the number one most common thing that goes wrong is that you break or scratch a lens. People are also finding that the base plate at the bottom of the camera is shearing away from the rest of the camera. That's another common problem. And make no mistake, 360 cameras are very, very fragile, and you really need to handle them very carefully. Here's a link to my experience with the Insta360 when I broke one of my lenses on my One X, meaning that I had to ship it back to China. Insta360 had to assess the damage, do the work, and then ship it out back to me. I was lucky. It took about a month for the whole process. However, it now seems to be taking almost 3 months, and it's a tricky process because the lens is apparently integrated with the sensor, so they can't just sell user replaceable lenses. The process for repair is trickier than that, and they have to manage it. My sense of what's happening is that Insta360 vastly underestimated how popular their camera turned out to be, and also how people use them, and perhaps they're not so experienced with a 360 camera. So they've been swamped by requests for repair and don't have the capacity to do these at speed or at anything like the tempo of what's required. Add to that the fact that there's only one service center in China, international shipping delays, sometimes really poor communication over email to try to establish the nature of people's issues, and also big trade issues between the US and China, meaning things aren't as smooth as they could be. Then you can see why a lot of people might be dissuaded and are turning away from Insta360 as an option because they've had a bad experience themselves or they've heard about this from others. But, and it's a big but, having said all that, let's refocus on the camera itself. Now, to my eye, the footage just looks better. It's clearer out of the can, has a better dynamic range, and it looks more natural, even with the GoPro colors turned off and filming with a flatter profile in the GoPro Max. The Insta360 One X has slow motion. Sure, it's 120 frames per second at an equivalent of 3K resolution, but it's the best out there for this class of 360 camera. Now, it's 1 year older than the GoPro Max, but the workflow feels far more evolved. It just feels better. It just feels more developed, and it's regularly updated on mobile and also for desktop. For me, it's an absolute pleasure to use, especially the view mode, which means that you don't have to keyframe each shot to get the footage you want. You just move the phone around to get what you want in frame, and the app records what you're doing, and out emerges the footage you want. It's brilliant. It's just done. Now, I do look like a fool walking around in my room, spinning around while I'm editing or on the street or at the beach, but it's actually beautiful and so intuitive to use and very, very freeing. If you're not a keyframing kind of a person, I'm not. Sure, it takes a bit of getting used to, but it's also very just freeing to use, and it engages parts of my creativity in a very physical sense, which I really, really enjoy. Now, that's especially so when I'm already aware of the music that I'm going to use in my final video, because I'm already editing with those beats in mind. It's just fantastic to be able to do that. And speaking as an ex-DJ, I really enjoy it too. Okay, speed ramping with the motion blur on the Insta360 One X app looks much better than the time warp on the GoPro Max to my mind. It's just amazing, and you can choose between a whole bunch of speeds to get the effect that you want. And at US $399, it's a whole $100 cheaper than the GoPro Max for better quality video, a better editing app, and guaranteed updates to color options in video footage, and better sound too in a firmware and app update in just a few days from the release of this video. I know that Insta360 are offering a special deal on their website right now. I'll leave a link to where you can get it through my affiliate link in my description and pinned comment below. And of course, you may be able to get it cheaper using various promotions and sales over Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and other promotions too. Now, the elephant in the room is that there is a rumored Insta360 One X version 2 in the works, and rumors are it will be released early next year. And it might be an evolution of the One X, or it might be a completely different beast. No one has any solid information yet. But I wouldn't let it stop you from getting this camera, the One X. Because if you're looking for an all-around excellent 360 camera, you don't need to do extreme stuff with it, and you're prepared to take the risk that if you break it, it might take quite a long time for you to get it back, then having said all that, this is the best camera on the market right now, period. Put it this way, I have one and I love it. And yes, I've got skin in the game and I've broken it, but I do love it. Like, I think I'm being fairly objective about that. And people are always asking me if I did my edits on the Insta360 Desktop Studio or in Adobe Premiere Pro, but no, 99% of the videos with the One X are done using the mobile video app. It really is such a pleasure to use. I actually look forward to an editing session. I don't think I can say that about any other camera I've ever used. All right, it's time to sum up. My number one pick for the 360 camera that you should be looking to buy in this holiday season on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, for Christmas, or as a New Year's gift for others or yourself is the Insta360 One X. It's cheaper than the GoPro Max. It has slow motion, it has a better workflow, it has a better app and editing tools, and it also has a 1/4-inch mount built in. On the downside, it's not waterproof. The audio is probably only okay, although there's a firmware upgrade imminently that's going to improve this, and if something goes wrong, getting it put right can be something of a mission. And hey, there's a couple of other cameras I want to talk about that you need to be aware of. Sticking to 360 cameras for now, on December the 11th, a new camera is going to be released. And to be honest, it looks awesome. It's in a slightly different price class at US $599. That's $200 more than the One X and another cool $100 more than the GoPro Max. But if the Kandao QCam 8K can deliver on its promise, it will knock these two out of the park. You can find a quick rundown as to why I think the QCam 8K release means that you should definitely hold off from buying a GoPro Max until we find out more in this video up here. But just briefly here, it's described as the world's first pocket panoramic camera. It's the world's first 8K consumer camera. Why is 8K important? Well, at 7680 by 3480 at 30 frames per second, then this resolution is going to be 4 times that of a 4K 360 camera and twice that of a 5.7K camera like the One X and the GoPro Max. And add to that at the highest bit rate of up to 200 megabits per second, then we can see the potential for some great detail being captured with this camera over a relatively wide canvas. if you see what I mean. It's also got 120 frames per second slow motion at 4K, which is better in all ways compared to the 100 frames per second available on the One X at 3K resolution and no slow motion as yet on the GoPro Max. I've also released another video answering some questions from the community here and on Facebook about the camera. Make sure you click and watch this before you make your final decision. Yes, it won't be available until after December the 11th, so you'll have to wait a while, but it could be very much worth your while you doing so. But if it's out of your budget and or you can't wait, well, the One X is an excellent option, the best buy possible in today's market. But after watching this video, you're still not sure. You still think you want something different, but a 360 camera seems, well, like a little too much work. Then I'd ask you if you've considered the Insta360 Go instead. It is a fantastic little gadget, and the biggest thing going for this little camera is its versatility. The mount, the magnetic attachment ability, it really is a go anywhere camera. To be honest, there's probably nothing else quite like it. You can watch my brutally honest review here to see if it might fit you. And you can also find an affiliate link to purchase it down below too. Hey, let me know what you think about my recommendations down below in the comments. It'd be great to share your view here for others to interact with too. What's your experience been? I'm keen to hear your story, and keep posting throughout the holiday period. I'm really keen to understand what you like and what you don't like about these cameras. Hey, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have found it useful, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. I'd love to see you back here again soon. Here's some other videos of mine that you might find interesting or useful. Please take a look around, and thanks for watching. Cheers and go well.